Hey, so today I'm going to be working with the Kaffia plant. So we will have a Kaffia break. That is the botanical name for the coffee plant. And so since you probably drink coffee every day, why not get to know where your coffee comes from a little better in a personal way? Let's meet the Kaffia plant. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this plant, about its need for water, and and then go into universal human needs and what they are and how we all have the same ones and yet we have different needs all at the same time. So yeah, so this plant, for the longest time, I could not keep up with watering this dude. Like, just would run out of water and wilt. And just every week or every few days it was wilting because it was not having water. And so I've been through about 2 of these, and I finally rigged up a system where I use a wine bottle, and it kind of works like an aqua globe, but it's way more effective and reliable, and it holds a lot more water. So it's way better than aqua globe for sure. And I got it to work, but I did not get it to work for anything else. So I need to study the science of water. And this is the year of water, where I will be studying how water moves and showing what I know so far about watering plants. In fact, I just did an article on 20 signs to know if your plant needs water. So I'll put that as a link in the description box below. But anywho, I finally got it going to where this plant really, this Kaffia plant now never wilts, and it gets really solid water, and it's been growing for a long time, really reliably. So this has worked super well, and I'm just delighted. So today I'm going to be giving it some love and talking about universal human needs, how we all have the same needs, but we also have different needs. So in Marshall Rosenberg's book, Nonviolent Communication, he talks about universal human needs. Now, this is in no way a review of this book. I'm just mentioning it in this video. This really does deserve, though, a really deep, in-depth, review, because it's been life-transforming for me. So it's definitely something that I hope to do a review on in the future. However, I'm just going to touch on this one thing, which is our universal human needs. So everyone has, all humans have the same needs, in the sense of, like, we all need water, we all need food, we all need fresh air, we all need recognition, connection, to be valued. We all share those common needs. So for some of us, those needs are stronger than, say, other needs. So for instance, let me talk about some of the activities that humans have been involved in since, like, maybe not the beginning of time, but for a really long time. 2 of those activities were preparing food and foraging, finding food, hunting and finding food. And so, oh, and actually, a little side note. So these little leaves, as I'm cutting them, they are going into this food scrap little bucket here, and then that goes to the garden. And I'm hoping to get worms so the worms can eat them, which would be really fun. But anyhow, so we all have, we've all been cooking, hunting, and foraging for as long as we can remember. But in the last, like, 50 years or so, that has totally changed. We do not have to cook per se. Like in at least the US, you can just microwave your way, you can order in, that kind of thing. And then we also don't have to interact with plants in a personal way at all. We don't have to forage for food, right? And there's advantages to that. But for some of us have a really strong need to involve ourselves in cooking. Like, cooking is just a part of us and we have to do it. That's not the case for me. So I could go probably the rest of my life, never cook another meal. And maybe like once every couple of years, I'll be like, oh, I think I kind of miss cooking. So I can take it or leave it. I don't actually have to cook. And in fact, when I started my community garden plot, I focused on greens and salad greens because I could just pluck them off and put them in my mouth, and there was no cooking process between me and the food. So yeah. But then I know someone where cooking is it's like he is compelled to cook. Like there's just life is not the same if cooking is not in his life. It's just it's a big deal. And so for me, that was a light bulb moment where I realized that there are many of us that are deeply suffering because we have lost our close relationship to nature. We don't interact with plants specifically. And so there are many of us that are unnecessarily suffering because of that. But then there are others who, you know, yes, they need some fresh air, they need some interaction, but it's really not a huge need. They do just fine without a whole lot of interaction. They have a much lower threshold for that need. And so we all have the same needs, but they're also different, and they are in different amounts. My need for nature might not be as strong and like important as your need. And at the same time, I didn't even know how badly I was needing that in my life until I found it. And so my quest for this website is to really, and channel and everything, is to help you find out if nature is something that will solve a lot of problems you're facing in your life, but not just that, bring a lot of joy and meaning and fulfillment and connection in your life. And so I'm starting small with these Kaffia chats and doing little things to help make it easier to begin that journey to find out. So like I have a 20 signs that your plant needs water, a little checklist that you can check out. And I'll put a link in that below. Just little things like that, so you can begin to find a way to ask those questions and see what role nature has to play in your life, and if it's possible that it would make you a better and happier person and make your community better and happier as well. What I'm trying to do is get better at describing what it is that I need in my life to others that might be willing or able to help, and vice versa, to help bring out the needs that other people have and to see if I have anything to offer or anything to contribute to make their life better, to make it more wonderful. So, and that's from this book. One of those questions is, how can I make your life more wonderful? And I just love that question. So that is our Kaffia chat for today. And it was really nice hanging out with you and hanging out with the coffee plant. And I would like to know what role nature has played in your life. What has that been like for you? And do you feel like are you curious about what that might look like? What would be like, what kind of sparks joy? What would make you feel, what do you feel curious about exploring when it comes to nature?